Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. SPARSH, the science of divine touch. Divyank, the walking, talking encyclopedia. My mission, the impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is fully known. My greatest discovery, Divyank, the divine design of nature, with which the perfect objects are designed and created. Divyank is the reward of 60 years of integrated holistic education. This particular picture I had shared in Akhand Yog. This was the experience during 4 months training way back in 1992-93, more than 30 years ago, when I learned Yogasana, Pranayam, meditation and Tratkam over a period of 4 months and a consensus. At one of the conducted meditation, we were asked to visualize a white light starting from pelvic region and slowly lifting it up. As I was lifting came to the throat level, Vishuddhi Chakra, I had a jerk and then found myself in a white bag of light. It was very distinct, but my eyes were closed, but I could see that I'm in a white bag of light. When I explained that to yoga teacher Mahesh, he said, please don't tell others because everybody will think that you have gone mad. And I was surprised. A genuine experience is considered madness, a psychosomatic disorder. As a medical doctor, I knew very well what is psychosomatic disorder, what is OCD, etc., etc., etc. And I do not have any of such problems. Anyway, at that particular juncture, I did not understand what exactly I was trying to experience. This was an experience which I was made to replicate and translate into symbolic representation. And now I understand very clearly what exactly white light is all about and what is significance, what the world should know about my experience so that neuroscientists as well as other people connected with physical health of blind people can use this particular knowledge to make a difference. At this juncture, let me tell you, let's go to the next stage. This is also a picture which I had shared in procreations. How sperm and ovum get fertilized, go through the binary division to form 2 cells, 4 cell stage, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and then come to blastocyst, and then whole thing gets converted into trilaminar layer, ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. And how after that, right up to 22 weeks, the whole development takes place and the child is completely viable. That's the reason after that, abortion is not recommended. Next stage of understanding is that embryonic skin development from trilaminar is from ectoderm. As you can see the 3 layers very clearly, and then second you can see left side epidermis are the skin, middle you can see the neurons and neural cells which are developed from ectoderm, and melanocytes are the pigments also developed from melanocytes. These are 3 things which develop from ectoderm, whereas mesoderm lead to the formation of muscles and bones. Endoderms are responsible for internal organs. Ectoderm, skin, nerves, eyes, epidermis, neurons, and I'm sure from this angle it's very clear that skin is developed from ectoderm and a common origin with neurons. So eyes, that means it should have the capacity to this. At this juncture, let me also conclude that part, a recommendation. Blind people can perceive aura around that, and I would make it very clear. With the skin, you can only see your aura, not others. It is not like eyes, you can see others. But if you train yourself, increase your aura with the help of pranayam, meditation, etc., you would be able to experience the presence of somebody close to you, close to your aura easily, because you see as a little deviation from your normal aura. And in the process, you can avoid that particular obstruction in that direction. I think this knowledge I will leave it so that people can understand this possible, then try to develop. Because when great vision like brain, let's say, vision is lost, 60% of brain is not. So do you have the time to develop other facilities? As I'm sure blind people are using this particular information knowingly or unknowingly. As a result, I see accidents among blind people is much lower than we people with eyes. And reason is they are able to experience extrasensory perception of touch, of aura around much better than us. And if they can do it, I'm sure we can also develop that particular facility with the help of Akhand Yoga. And that is what is one of the recommendations of Akhand Yoga, that improve pranayam and make that pranamaya kosha or this aura so strong so that even mosquitoes cannot enter. And I'm made to understand the Maharishi Arvind, when he was in jail in Bihar, he increased his aura so much and could make sure that mosquitoes don't touch him. And if he can do it, I don't understand why we cannot do it. I'm sure we can do it. Anyway, let's skin and skin receptors. And picture right on top is beautiful histology picture of skin, when you can see stratum, corneum, keratin, which are part of epidermis, the outer layer. Epi mean up, and dermis is the skin, and then fat layer, and all the major organs like sweat glands, sweat, capillaries, villi, melanocytes, hair, and basement, and sebaceous gland, and sebum, all are beautifully covered there. These are the gross structure. But we are talking of skin receptors. And here, as we normally see, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 10 seem to play a much bigger role in natural development. Here you have 7 different kinds of receptors. 3 are responsible for pressure, a deep touch, a vibration inside. 3 are for fine touch, which are very close to superficial level. And then you have free nerve ending right at the surface of the skin for pain and temperatures. There are 3 different types of sensations. Is the 3 a coincidence? Then each has 3, 3 plus 1, 7. And I think if we understand how nature actually unfolds its secrets, which I have tried to do, you'll be able to expect what is expected from this juncture or the junctures. I think from that is very clear that there is a mathematics involved, consistent mathematics involved in divine design, creation, sustenance and maintenance, and also dissolution. Now let's go to the next stage. Skin receptors receive the information as such, and that information is carried through the nerve to the posterior part of the spinal cord. Now again, for the medical student, and of course all of us who are interested in understanding and appreciating nature, is posterior part of the spinal cord and the brain is sensory in nature, and front part is motor. In between you have autonomic nervous system. I think I've already spoken about it. Let's in between go on emphasizing, reminding again so that it gets reinforced. Another thing here, I'm talking about Indriya, which is going to be the next video again, about neuron cells and in detail. But neuron cell is a structural and functional unit of nervous system. There are 100 billion neuron cells in the perfect human nervous system, and each neuron cell can make 20,000 memory synapses. Can you imagine 20,000 into 100 billion? A phenomenal memory for human brain. Are we really making optimum use? No. Even the experts in the field normally, in my opinion, make 4, 5 or 6% of this. Whereas if we can make use of that, only thing is we'll have to have complete understanding of 16 different arts and sciences or 64 different arts and sciences to make optimum use and have all the knowledge in the memory synapses, and you can literally become walking, talking encyclopedia of impeccable wisdom. It is possible, and that is what Divyank is trying to do. Now, from this lecture, this particular picture I brought the neuron cell, which is a connection with the receptors to the central nervous system of spinal cord and brain to perceive things. This is inter-between. Is also designed with 10 stages. The Satar, the Sank, there are 10 stages, mandatory stages of development, of evolution, sustenance, etc. And this is again something which I'm trying to say, 10 is a rule, and we should look for 10 and you will find the 10. There will not be 9, there will not be 11, and I think I've given more than enough examples. So here, the 10 stages of human neuron cell are the signal. Dendrite, which is a receptor, unmyelinated nerve endings, so that they're gray matter, they can still perceive it. Then you have cell membrane, then you have cell body, then the nucleus, axon, nodal nervure, and then you have Schwann cells which make myelin sheath. Myelin sheath is designed so that the conduction is not there. So that is their myelin sheath are tracts are the white matter. Where a gray matter cell, a neuron cell, do not have myelin sheath. As a result, they are called gray matter, and this is why. This is also something which I would like you to understand. What is the difference between gray matter and white matter, tracts and nerves? Now let's go to the next. As I told you, everything is three. In the beginning, I told you there are three types of touch sensations. Deep touch, or pressure touch, or proprioception, vibrations on one. Fine touch, which is very special to the human beings. And then you have pain and temperature sensations. So three sensations. Those three sensations from the skin are carried by three different kinds of receptors to nerves to three parts of the central nervous system of the spinal cord. Now, spinal cord is also called central nervous system, whereas other nerves are called peripheral nervous system. So, in the spinal cord, you have three different tracts. Anterior spinothalamic tract, lateral spinothalamic tract, as well as posterior or dorsal spinolateral tract. Now, these three tracts with the three sets of receptors. Now let's understand how it goes to the third stage and how they carry information from central nervous system of spinal cord to the central nervous system brain. It is carried. Let's take the first one, light touch or fine touch. This information from those three receptors in the skin are carried through the nerve to the posterior dorsal root ganglion into anterior spinothalamic tract. Anterior, not lateral, not dorsal, anterior. And its spinothalamic means spinal cord to thalamus, this particular tract is going to rise. Now, also as I've told you as a reminder, as a review, recap, okay, all the qualities which are common between animals and us are located in spinal cord in the center. Whereas anything which is added later as a special, like fine touch, light touch, human being, is fibers are placed peripherally. So I think from that angle, anterior is periphery, and fine touch is specialized with the human being, is carried in particular, and from there, dorsal root ganglion, the fibers first order carried to medulla oblongata in the brain stem. And from there, second order neuron cross over to the opposite side and rise to thalamus. And third third order of neurons from thalamus are carried to parietal cortex. Here again, let me remind, I told you in 7 layers of neothalamus, say neocortex, you have information is carried to the fourth layer of neocortex, not to the second, third, and fourth. That is something which I want people to, from fourth layer is carried to the motor side, and then descending tract take place from there. This information should be very clear so that you have make no mistake how the information is going to be carried. Here it is only up to fourth, not second, third, and fourth. Unless until some is very strong that second and third layer could also get activated. But fine touch, by and large, can go up to fourth layer in neocortex and parietal lobe of the neocortex and done. So I think there should be no confusion in the minds of the listeners how fine touch is carried through anterior spinothalamic tract to the parietal cortex, crossing over in medulla oblongata. Second important vibration or touch is vibration, proprioception or deep touch. And these particular fibers, like other touch, from touch, deep touch receptors in the skin are carried through the nerve to the dorsal root ganglion, and then first order goes up to medulla oblongata like anterior. Dorsal spinothalamic tract and anterior carry the information in the same set to medulla oblongata, then cross over to the opposite side, and then from there to go. Now at this juncture, let me also explain what is thalamus. Thalamus is like a sensory relay center. It's like a secretary in any ministry of any of the government, where all the information from all over comes to secretary, and then she segregates and sends different files to different departments. So here thalamus does exactly of a super specialist secretary. Information with respect to touch of this kind will go to parietal. The information with respect to the vision is carried to lateral geniculate body of the thalamus. From there is carried to occipital tract. And hearing information is carried to medial geniculate body. From there, the information is carried to temporal cortex. So I'm sure now clear how exactly these tracks work and how pathway is made. How beautiful it is, and I'm sure if you carefully listen to this and see the visuals in that, you should have no problem. To demonstrate this, I've shown that this is different from touch. In touch, I have shown a feather touch, light touch. Here, a joint, receptors. How when they move the thumb, information is carried through the spindles, muscles, to the spinal cord and goes up, and then in medulla they cross over. I think that should be more than enough for you to comprehend how nature actually functions. So let's go. This is pain temperature ascending tract. This is different from other two touch. The information from skin, where you have open nerve endings, end completely, totally unmyelinated. There's no myelination and very sensitive. And that information is carried through the nerve to the lateral spinothalamic tract, not anterior or posterior or dorsal. Now the question comes, why lateral spinothalamic tract is made not anterior or posterior for this particular sensation? Let me first explain. This information is carried to one side of the spinal cord, then information goes to the opposite side in the same segment of the spinal cord, not up to medulla oblongata. And that's the reason lateral spinothalamic tract would be much easier, because control to the close to the center to cross over to the opposite side. Otherwise you have to go around quite a lot. This is both the sides. This side or that side lateral is almost on the same side. So you save on area, save on time. Now the question comes, why to the opposite side? Why not up and down? Interesting. And let me explain very clearly, because unless until you understand it, you can't make optimum use of neuroscience's wisdom at all. It's very clear. Pain and temperature can be dangerous. They can kill a person. If the, normally other sensations are carried from skin to the spinal cord, to the brain, to the fourth layer of neocortex, then go to the motor cortex, and reflex comes through the motor to take a remedial action, the cause and effect. And that particular pathway being very long, they could lose time, in between damage could be quite a lot. But in pain and temperature, you can't wait that. So very moment information goes to the opposite side, you create a reflex arch within the segment itself. It's a single segment reflex. So information in is from the same segment, and information for the remedial action is also the same segment. As I've seen shown the picture, both legs. One problem with one leg is carried information to the spinal cord and then cross over to the opposite side, and this in this particular thing is right leg is being touched with a painful or hot thing. It's withdrawn. So when it is withdrawn, we should not fall. The left leg has to take remedial action to do the righting reflex. What a wonderful reflex it is. If we maintain our nervous system so beautifully integrated, we could be saved every time without any particular problem. And I'm sure this particular video has given me a lot of pleasure to bring that kind of applied knowledge of neuroscience, which normally not found in books. Even the best of students have not been able to give me the answers on this particular thing when I was teaching the neurosciences, real beauty of neurosciences. Problem is, nobody seems to think that this is applied part which has to be explained so that we can use the knowledge to make a real difference. Now, at this particular juncture, let me also share. There have been some great sages on whom the operation was done for different reasons without anesthesia. For example, Ramana Maharishi had an operation without anesthesia. How did he manage to do? I don't think any other person really could understand what exactly he was doing. But I can now explain that if you can take your consciousness beyond the fourth layer of neocortex or beyond thalamus, and here also I'll tell you, pain sensations are carried only up to thalamus, not beyond, not to the parietal cortex. Parietal cortex can only talk about location, but cannot feel. That part of the brain cannot feel pain of any part of the body as well as their own part. So if you are capable of going up to outer three layers of neocortex or beyond that, if you can focus there, you can literally make your physical body in such a way that you don't feel the pain. And I have done that many times with very successful results. And that is one thing which I definitely feel Akhand Yoga has helped me to go beyond the fourth layer of neocortex, beyond thalamus, to make sure that I do not experience pain when I do not need to. But otherwise, I would like even slightest change anywhere, I can immediately experience it because all my nervous system is intact. I think this detailed video of this particular touch is very different from what anybody else would have done, but I think as a neuroscientist, my duty to put on record how exactly it happened, explain, so that we can bridge the gap between spirituality and science and make optimum use to make a real difference to ourselves. Now coming to this particular picture, I would like to remind the listeners is this central picture represents both Western symbol of medical sciences, staff of Hermes, well known, as well as Indian Tantra Vidya. Two separately did not know each other, but their representation of this particular symbol a Ida Pingala Shishuna Nadi on one side, are there two snakes with staff in the middle? Unconsciously, or subconsciously, or superconsciously, how they designed it, do not know. But I would like to bring two things. Pain and temperature. You will find that crossing over is in the same site. Whereas other two temperature, it is at higher level. If you say the bottom crossing, that means it's a segmental reflex. And I call brainstem segment as a suprasegmental reflex. And that is what you do find in fine touch and deep touch. I think this is again science and spirituality merging together to share. Well, we are two sides of the same kind, but unless until you know both the sides, you will not be able to comprehend the divine design of nature and make optimum use to make a real difference intelligently and intuitively. And I'm glad these 60 years of my intensive desire to understand perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology, and all the scriptures, and then show that it's very simple and we can do wonders. And from that, let me tell you, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure sharing with you all the experience of 60 years and in the light of neurosciences, and I'm sure everybody would benefit from it. So, thank you very much.